Nerdthusiast Poker Podcast. Your boy Ida Hoagie here, and we got our special guests, a couple of special guests. We got Frank hanging out from the content creation of music. I don't know, you're doing everything now.
Music, poker, a little bit of
writing, everything. So he's hanging out. Brian could not be here today, unfortunately. Brian, not the man keen, but he did drop some questions. And today we have an awesome guest. 2017 main event champion Scott Blumstein is in the house, man. Thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit here today. What's up, man? How are you?
Yeah, no sweat. Pretty good. Yeah. I mean, always good to talk to some old Jersey guy. I know I've moved out to Vegas now, but Jersey will always be a soft spot. And, coming up, I remember you played a little bit online back in the day, right?
Yeah. I was just telling Frank, I was like, you know what, dude, it's crazy because I remember playing, and I looked it up because I wanted to jog my memory. I was like, dude, I was playing with Scott, at like Sugar House and stuff. And we were playing in like a Sugar Rush tournament or something for like $200. And then like a month later, you like won the main event. I was like, that's the dream right there. That is the dream.
Yep.
Yeah,
really, it really did happen that fast.
Yeah. Good. So, all right, let's talk a little background, man. How did you get into poker? I'm gonna start from the beginning. How did you get into poker? What were your upbringings like? And, let's go from there.
Yeah. The typical cliche story, Chris Moneymaker, Greg Raymer, those 2 years were obviously pretty big. And I just remember being in a hotel room, driving down to Florida to visit my grandmother. And somehow we ended up with a room with like 2 TV, a little living room area. I don't know. We probably got a nice bargain on one of those websites. And I remember, hijacking one of the rooms and just flipping through the channels, and there was, poker on. I just had these weird memories of watching WSOP main event coverage in 2003 and 2004. And that was basically what got me into it. And then, obviously middle school and high school, you find different groups of kids that are experimenting with it. And even some fathers were starting to get into it, with the whole boom and whatnot. And just a couple casual games like that. And then, got it, and that's basically the start.
So I pulled up your Hendon, just kind of going through it to start from the beginning. So it looks like you started getting into tournaments around 2012, 2013. I guess it looks like, I know I saw you a lot around Parks, and then Empire State Poker, and then you got into some of the Sands and Borgata tournaments there. Where's your favorite? Let's start with this. Where's your favorite Northeast poker room? Where if you had to call home, what would it be?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know. I wouldn't really even stake claim to any of them. I think, you said it best. Like, obviously, I think Borgata and Parks are probably like co-favorites. I don't think I could really pick between the two. But, as a tournament player, the answer is kind of wherever they were having a series. Right?
Yeah.
You can't really be. So, being, the Northeast, it was cool. I mean, I didn't really go up to like Foxwoods too much. Some of those caches you said earlier, 2012, people would be like at home, be like, well, how are you playing live poker in 2012? You were 20 years old. I was going up to Turning Stone, Resort and Casino up in Verona, New York, the 5-hour drive to go play some tournaments. So that's kind of, I always have a soft spot for that place because that's kind of really where I got my start. And then after that, just like you said, Sands, when Sugar House opened, and it was cool to see all those places kind of adopt tournament series, and I would just kind of go where the games were.
So it looks like, I'm just going through. So it kind of, you're playing low mid stakes, $200 to $400 range. I'm still stuck in that range. I haven't got out of it. I'm still grinding the $500 range. But then it looks like I would say your breakout cash looks like it was Borgata Summer Open 2016. So it looks like you cashed just shy of 200K on that one. Any memories about that specifically that stood out to you, or going into it, anything different happening, in that realm of time?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the main thing was that, I was about 24 years old, and I've been playing professionally for a couple years now. And I had my bags packed to go down to Atlantic City, and I wasn't doing too hot at the time. I mean, I was definitely like, I had a couple, I always kind of got by, right? A couple 10K sports here and there just to pay the bills. And then my dad was in the kitchen. He was like, you've been doing this for a couple of years now, and maybe you should consider getting right. And it was weird. I remember this moment of clarity. I was like, I kind of agree with you. Like, I could see why, and but my bags are packed. I'm gonna go to Atlantic City, play these tournaments that I've have pinpointed. When I get back, talk about it. I was trying to explain to him that I was starting to finally hone my game a little. I just felt a little bit of weird confidence that I was starting to kind of figure it out a little bit. And so yeah, I mean, that one, this is where poker's crazy too, right? Talk about game selection being a big thing. Well, that Borgata 500 was smack dab in the middle of the WSOP main event. This is 2016. So, good, the best players weren't in the field. And I think that really allowed me to just take advantage of it. And another cool cat of this Easter egg was on day 2, there was probably like 30 something people left. And, I'm grinding for my life. And all of a sudden the Borgata poker room is just swarmed. There's like maybe 60 people just standing like right, in this middle of this room, like right next to me. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I asked my buddy, and he goes, look over there. I turn literally 3 tables over, like right in Justin Bieber. He just got off of playing a show.
I remember that. I remember that story.
At the boardwalk. Yeah. And him and his entourage. It was the weirdest thing. They just put him right in the middle of the poker room, like right by that bathroom in the back, in the right where the race book comes in.
Yep.
And they're just like, I'm like, couldn't they put him in the private section in the back? I'm trying to play a poker tournament here. And there's literally 13-year-old girls like screaming. I'm like, this is and now you and some 40-year-old guys screaming too.
I think I remember too, and I think I remember hearing the story that he was just playing 1-2 or something like low key, like nothing crazy,
Red chip. They were playing the red chip game. I think it was like 1-2 limit or something. I don't even know what he had.
1-2 limit. Nice. Talk about
he just wanted to blow. Yeah, exactly.
That's like, this is like a movie story here. You're like, Dad's like, all right, you got to get a job and get your shit together or you're out. And you're like, all right, I'm going to go down. I mean,
bags are packed. Bags are already packed, like Scott said.
Justin Bieber's there. This is like a Disney movie waiting to happen, man. Like, nice.
So then you take that down. And then that it looks like that kind of opens the door, to the next year. You got a bunch of little cashes here and there. Now going into Vegas 2017, did you, I don't know the background story. Did you play any other events that summer, or was it just the main event, or what was the game plan going into that summer?
So that's the other thing too. I mean, it was interesting. I didn't really go out to Vegas at all. I mean, I went out for the week before, I would say, and I played the Wynn main event a couple of days before, and I remember I built up a little decent stack. I had like about 100 big blinds, and I 5-bet shoved ace 5 suited because I thought, this is back in my study day, right? So I'm just starting to figure out what. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure Doug Polk would go all in here. So, but yeah, that summer I had spent all the months prior I stayed back in Jersey, and I really wanted to just focus on getting better. Like that truly was. I think the irony is that WSOP is a long time, and but yeah, I was grinding $100 tournaments with a couple $1,000 to first, and I have a buddy, Brian Frasca, who's now he's one of the better PA regs, because considering that Pennsylvania is his own state, and he's just this really smart kid. He was an actuary at the time. He had a job, and I just, but he watched every EPT under the sun, right? And he was just like doing all this work, and I just kind of snuck in there, and I'd be like, hey, Brian, like, you want to go do a hand history review, under the guys? Yeah. And I'd just be getting some free coaching the whole time. So I was doing that. And then I went out to Vegas, and I just, I've always wanted to play the main event. I'd never done it before. And, the rest is history.
So we put it out on Twitter today that we had a surprise guest today on stream. We said it was going to be a main event champion, but we didn't say who. So we had a couple questions from Twitter that I'm going to fire out here. First was, how much luck do you think was involved to make it all the way in the main event? Like how much, like, you know, obviously luck takes a small percentage, depending on the skill range, but I mean, that was the question. How much luck do you think takes to
Did you
get all
win
the way?
some big, you know, I mean, we obviously saw what happened more in the last couple days because of the
Right.
TV coverage. So, you know, how about leading up to it? Any big things that came up?
I mean, you know, the short answer is obviously a lot, right?
course.
I mean,
Well, we all know that.
We all know
that.
that. I'm just explaining to the Twitter.
Like, you know, I don't trust me. I you know, that's what I'm saying.
You realize
This
the
game-
fortunate aspect.
yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
I mean,
And if you don't, yeah.
you know, trying to avoid spots where I had to get lucky, you know, like that's the one thing I do give myself credit for was I, you know, maybe I didn't 3-bet ace queen or, you know, just because I just played a little bit. Because you look at guys like Negreanu and Helmuth, you know, they play that small ball style, right? So I try to incorporate a little bit of that to just kind of lower variance. So, but then, you know, it's just not getting cooler, right? You think about all those hands. I mean, how do you not get set over set one time, you know, or just something?
Well, you talk about Raymer, and I remember when he won the main event, I remember one of the times when he lost one of the hands on TV, and it just was, he was like, that's okay. He goes, I've been pretty fortunate throughout. I've won more flips than, and I just remember him saying that, and it stuck in my brain. It's like, yeah, absolutely. You got to get a little bit fortunate. You can't lose the bigger pots in certain spots. You know, and any poker player who's played enough obviously realizes that.
Of course. And then it's taking advantage of your luck, right? That's the other thing.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like, of
Maximize.
course I was lucky, and then exactly, easy game.
Yeah.
Next question we had on Twitter was, when did you think like a deep run was like it was actually happening? Like this is going to be pretty big, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So like even back to the luck thing, it's like the thing about poker tournaments that's sick is there's such a fine line between each spot, right? You know, obviously, like that's why, like, I think it's more important. You know, instead of focusing on winning one tournament, you know, if you're the guy that even if you got 10 times, right, that means you're consistently making the right decisions, putting yourself in good spots, right? It's not about getting the difference between first and 20th. Sometimes is a flip, right? But being still in with 20, where the skill comes in to allow yourself. So to answer that question, you know, that's what I'm saying. At no point was I like, oh my God, I'm going to win the right? I mean, I just it's the biggest welcome come the moment was like, so day 5, the start of day 5, you know, there's still 200 something people left. So I guess if you start, you know, whatever, you know, I mean, and I was at this table, we broke, they threw the cards out. I look at my card and I like look at the table that I'm going to, and I see a seat open in the middle, and I look to the left and I see Ben Lamb, right?
Yeah,
so
I remember
now
that.
It's like,
I knew where you were going.
Yeah, Ben Lamb. So that's like, so I go sit down and he's on my direct left, and I'm like, okay, you know, this is a guy I've been watching for years. I know he's final table this tournament before. He's got all this experience, plays, you know, and then I played a big pot that actually made the coverage where
I remember that too.
Yeah, 4-bet him with ace queen. I got him to fold jacks on the river, right? And like there's a boom mic in my face and he's thinking for 5. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? You know, I'm just trying to keep, it's
got to be hard to focus. I mean, obviously with all that's going on around you, once you get that deep, there's so much other stuff going on. And I always talk about, I think one of the most important qualities to have to be a good poker player is focus, especially when you get to a level or get, you know, on the stream or on TV or whatever.
Yeah.
You got to tune everything out and you got to be like, all right, I'm here. Like I need to make the best decision, period. All this stuff doesn't matter around me. It's all right here. So, you know, that obviously, and that's, I'm assuming the first time for you, of course, Ben Lamb's been in front of the TV. He was on the final table, you know, before. So
this is another tournament for him.
He's like, I've been here.
Yeah. I literally watched him play the Super High Roller Bowl a month before on, you know, that's what I'm saying, for $300K. This is what, you know, this is nothing now. This is
right.
So it was definitely intimidating. And that's after that hand, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is really happening, isn't it?
That's awesome.
And the luck, you know, that's the thing about being from the Northeast. You know, as you know, right, getting to see Aaron Mermelstein win a WPT and Asher Conniff win a WPT, and
we were just talking about those guys too.
The monster back, right? It was like, I knew people that had done it, and it was, it makes it more real and stuff like that. So it was, it's definitely
No, and I know
interesting.
you and Ash are good friends. I mean, I met you guys together back in the day,
Right.
Playing and with the pieces and all that. But
Mhm.
it's funny when people ask me about it. Talk to me about poker because they see I'm doing the blogs and playing a lot, and they're like, "Well, how'd you get into it?" And I go, "Well, here's how I got into it." And I go, "But I'm not shy in saying that a lot of what I learned was from guys half my age, guys like Aaron, guys like Trevor, picking your brain, picking, different people's brains." I go, these guys are half my age, but they put in a lot of the work and studying. And I said, the best part is they weren't afraid to tell me I was wrong, which I want to hear. Hey, no, I wouldn't do that. And here's why. Okay, good. I want to not just understand what you're doing. I want to understand the why part so I can make those decisions better later. And that made me go from here to there, a lot quicker by, bouncing stuff. And it's funny you brought it up because that was one of the things I was going to talk about. Like, I learned so much from different people. And I think that's the best way to learn, is learning from other people who you love their game and can appreciate their decision-making process,
Couldn't agree more. Yep.
So someone asked, you obviously won the main event, right? Like there's no spoiler there. We all
we got that one.
We got that. The next 24 hours, like what was that like? What was that like, that 24 hours? I mean, that's, what?
That's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, I like that one. You're riding the high, but like what,
you probably heard the same questions for the last 5 years, I figured. So I don't know if this one you never heard.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a good question. I mean, it's weird. The first thing that comes to my mind, right, instantly is I don't think, and look, I was a big dude back then, and I don't think it really even mattered. I mean, I was fatigued. Like I was tired. It was a lot. I mean, think about it. It's literally 10-hour, poker. Like,
7 days, right?
Yeah. But even that, it was like 10 days. The final table's 3 nights, right? And you're shorthanded. You don't have a lot of time off. You're in every hand. You're, every decision's big. You're bluffing for a couple $1 million. It's tiring. It's
straight.
So yeah, I mean, like I just remember being like relieved, and just and mentally tired. So they gave us the plot. They gave not plot. They gave us I forget what it's called. There's a suite in the Rio. So we went and we partied, but I wasn't, again, it wasn't as, I wish I had some cool stories. Like,
it's okay.
But yeah, but it was surreal. And I just enjoy, being around cool people and basically it was just.
I remember Jamie, Jamie, another East Coaster who's obviously done real well. Her sweating you from the crowd. I remember that.
I mean, they had more fun than I did at the after party. So that's
well, you were more putting in more
goal,
work,
right?
You were putting in the work, so that's awesome.
At least good. At least somebody enjoyed the celebration.
So I'm gonna jump forward a little bit. So Brian, my normal co-host, you might have seen him back in the day when you were at Brigada a lot. He used to play there. He still plays. He's usually on the show. He had a couple questions he went to throw out. I looked up a little bit, but it looks like you're still playing a little bit, but not hardcore. So what's going on? Brian wanted to know, like, what's going on right now in the world of Scott Blumstein? Like, what's the day to day? Like, what's going on right now in the world?
Yeah, I mean, as far as poker goes, like, it's tricky. I definitely am trying to treat it now more like a hobby instead of a grind. I mean, obviously that's what I'm saying. Another thing about talking about learning from other people was, I saw other main event winners kind of just, we all saw some high stakes poker stuff and just like it makes sense, right? You win a lot, win a lot of money, and then what's the next step? Oh, I want to play high stakes. I'm gonna so it's like, at least I give myself credit for not ever trying to do that, and then it's like, and then now it's like, whatever I play, with random WPTs and stuff or breaks. I play kind of casually. I mean, that's, I always, the guy like Frank, Frank, you have a career, right? This is just,
absolutely.
I enjoy it better that way. I mean, you want to come in fresh. And I remember the days where I needed it, and it wasn't fun, right? It wasn't. I didn't enjoy those days, and so yeah, I just kind of look at it as a fun game, and I'll play a couple times this summer. I'm probably not going to go all the time, and just try to capital. It's for me, it's quality over quantity, right? I'm going to pick a couple good structured tournaments and go play my best and try to win them. So,
well, it's funny you say about a lot of people who jumped in the high stakes game after. I'm sitting there going, these high stakes cash game players, and obviously, the poker people know that there's a big difference between playing cash and playing in tournaments as far as, different things that are important. And I see them going in and I'm thinking some of these guys who play high stakes cash for a living are probably, I don't want to say licking their chops, but happy to have a person who's a tournament player coming in who's not a, not a high stakes cash player. Yeah, absolutely. That's somebody they want.
Of course.
Yeah. So.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, I didn't have that ego where I had anything to prove or anything like that, so that's just, so whatever.
Excellent.
All right. Now, are you in, I know you're in the West Coast. Are you out in Nevada? Are you in California? Where are you up to these days?
Yeah, I live in Las Vegas still. I don't know for how long, but for now I've picked up the game of golf. I've been playing a lot of golf, which, outside it's another challenging, it's another variance filled game, right? Your ball can, it's upsetting, right? When people talk about luck, I mean, it's unlucky when you hit the perfect shot and it comes down and goes 30 feet down the hill.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, come on. But yeah, that's good. And other than that, just trying to, stay busy and try to figure out what to do next, just trying to find something to do with my life. So it's a good problem to have. And it's kind of like my poker strategy, right? You get a big stack and then you just try to not, you just try and you wait for aces, right?
Not five bet with ace five. That's that's what you got to do. Sorry, I was sitting there, man. I was going to use it. I didn't know when. It was just a matter.
I deserve it.
That's all good. It's all good.
So Brian also likes to ask on our interviews. He likes to know what's your vices, like what's the thing that holds you back, man? You play the slots, you play the pit, you play, sports betting, women, like men, I don't know, like what's your vice, man? Like you got a vice, anything that holds you back?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully it's not. I mean, I daily fantasy sports is probably the answer. Obviously, I do enjoy. There's nothing better than a nice daily fantasy sports lineup. Especially golf, it's like a 4-day sweat. You get the whole weekend, right? Every shot's important. So, and the other one lately has been sports cards. Have you heard?
Yes.
This resurgence of sports cards. So again, there's people that do it to make money, and then there's people like me who do it. You're right. It's a little gamble. It's better than blackjack. Actually, is it? Yeah. It might not be, but it's fun and it's sports related. So exactly.
Nice.
So real quick, we got a couple minutes here. We're wrapping up. You said you're gonna probably hit a couple events in the WSOP, maybe, or hit some events this summer. What anything you're eyeing up specifically?
I mean, obviously, like the main event. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, it really is simple to me. It's like that.
I still have to play.
It's like
I haven't played it yet. I have to do.
You got it.
One of these years. I'm gonna come out.
We got it. I know. Just come on. You got to be on the. Yeah. I mean,
I'll come out.
You got to do it.
Absolutely. I gotta do it once in my life.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's no secret. I don't mind. I mean, if you got to sell 70%, you got to sell 70%. That's what I did. It's a kid out there. It's like, it's just something you got to do once. You just have to. But yeah. And I just don't like, how can I? Hard to get it up for. It's hard to get up for any other.
Yeah, it's true.
Event, it's like 2 different levels, right? It's like just so. It's just the vibe, and so. But yeah, I mean, I'll probably play maybe I like the shootout. The shootout's a fun format. It's cool. Actually probably the easiest way to win a bracelet. Hey, right? You just got to win 3 sit and goes. How hard could that be?
Yeah. We used to do it online every night, so different stakes. But I used to play. That's how I made my bankroll playing singles. I mean, 2 or 3 people would be out, and next thing you know, you're cashing. So. And for the record, so this goes on the interview here. Scott did buy a piece of me last year.
He's flexing over here.
That's it. I'm flexing. So I have to tell the champ on a piece of me. So he knows my poker skills. So that's all I got. That's all I got. I'm taking that with me. But
That was a
I will
no-brainer.
make. I say that. What's that, Scott?
That was a no-brainer.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But I will play the main event once at some point. Definitely have to do that over the next couple of years.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then, Vegas is cool. I mean, obviously now that you got the Wynn and the Venetian and MGM has a series. It's cool. It really is getting to the point where you have a lot of options. There's a lot of good poker out here. And so, yeah, we'll see. I don't know exactly what my schedule looks like, but it'd be cool to try to win a poker. So we'll do it.
Why not?
Excellent.
So we're gonna wrap up there. Thank you, Scott, for coming on. I know we had a little tech difficulties trying to get together, but I appreciate it. Maybe we'll do a follow-up interview if I bump into you in Vegas at some point. Good luck to you this summer. And everyone else, thank you for hanging out with us. Make sure you subscribe to Nerdthusiast Poker Podcast and the Nerdthusiast channel. You can also check us out on our patreon.com/Nerdthusiast and help us build this channel up. We're going to be doing more interviews in the poker stuff. Frank, thanks for jumping in today. For Brian,
good to see you, Scott.
Yeah, and Scott, man, seriously, good luck. And hopefully I'll bump into you in Vegas, and I'll maybe we'll play some golf or something. That sounds good.
I like it. Yeah, good. Thanks for having me on. And let's go win a poker tournament this summer. That's the goal, baby. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks again, Scott. See you soon.